And then this woman showed up. And you know what? I am really like, I should have done things a little differently. I forgot what she said. Again, I wasn't going to go live, but I had a Trump supporter come knock my door. And she, right, I forgot what she said her name was. But she said, blah, 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 with the blah, 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 Trump something. And I'm like, oh, Debbie. Oh, shake my head. I don't know what her name was, but if it was Debbie. And so she starts, and I said, well, Trump didn't win 2016. Trump never won an election, right? Yes, she looks at me like, yes, he did. I said, no, no, he didn't. I said, Trump lost the election by 2.7 million votes. She said, well, that's the popular vote. I said, I know.
The one that people actually go and vote for.
That's the one where the people voted. 2.7 million more people voted for Trump. Voted for Hillary. And yeah, oh shit. Hang on. So so she starts talking about the Electoral College, and I'm like, yeah, isn't that strange how the only 3 times in history that's happened, in modern history at least, where the Electoral College overrides the popular decision is Trump and then George Bush Jr. And I said, why is it you could, like, I said, you didn't support George Bush Jr., did you? She said, oh, no, I hated that guy. Right. Well, I said, I'm sure you probably think they're all jokes, right? It's all bad. It's all rigged. It's all shitty. Except for when it's Trump. Why do you think racist grab him by the pussy Trump is not part of that system? Racist grab him by the pussy best buddies with Epstein Trump. And she was like, And then she would bring up like, well, the Democrat. And I said, no, listen, you're not here talking about the Democrats. You're here to tell me why your guy is the guy. I said, Epstein died under Trump's watch, right? Right? Yeah. And then the Trump people covered it up, right? Well, they didn't investigate it like they should have. Right, they covered it up. No, well, I said, well, why did they cover it? Well, why didn't the Democrats push for it? I said, well, you're not here for the Democrats. You're here telling me why it's okay that your guy was best buddies with Epstein, but it's not okay that anybody else does anything. I brought up the fact that the 2016 election that Trump lost by 2.7 million votes.
Yeah. Not yet.
I brought up the Epstein thing. I brought up COVID, and it's crazy how they don't like talking about that. It somehow the commander in chief isn't the commander in chief. I was like, she was like, COVID. He didn't give us COVID. I said, oh, but Biden affects the price of groceries, right? Biden is in there like, we should raise the price of broccoli. But Trump didn't, he had nothing to do with COVID, huh? Look at the homosexual necrophiliac pirate. Do you have a mirror or something? Are you trying to bring attention to yourself? That's really weird. To think that somebody would come up with that, right? That is just so weird. That's the way you go. Well, what you're saying is smart, and I don't like what you're saying, but I'm not smart enough to override it. So I'm gonna do something weird.
That is very weird.
Super weird. Just not even any. That's the first thing you say. Right. Big Ten. What's up, Big Ten? I had another friend of mine. Her name's Carrie, and I barely know her. Like, we went to high school together, and I found her through Facebook, and just like, again, barely know the person, but we've talked several times through Facebook and had like religious kind of talks. Shit is cold in Chicago. Well, it's not cold here. I mean, it's chilly, but it's not cold. It's not what it should be cold. But this girl she's a super Christian, and she's a Trump person. She's an entitled white girl. She's a white girl from Northville. Like it's so strange how the white people from Northville don't realize they're white people from Northville. Right?
Very sheltered.
Right. I mean, but they like it's like almost disrespectful to their parents and their family and shit. Acting like where your family didn't provide you with a platform that is so much better than everybody else's. What's with them, with all them damn ceiling fans? Yep, all of them. See, that's the funniest thing is, you guys are too stupid. You realize you identify yourself as the group every time somebody mentions the ceiling fan, right? Because nobody else does. So every time you guys do it, it's like I'm giving you a little clue, right? I'm letting you know I'm letting you know of your tell. So you can continue to use it if you want, but just talk about stupid. It must be ceiling fan is probably one of your new code words. Is that one in the new pedo code word that you guys use? We haven't seen those in a while, so maybe that's what it is. I can't think of how that would be connected, but I'm not a pedo, so I don't think along those lines. That seems like something might be worth blocking people over. Anyway. So this woman is it's like she is Come on, guys. Come on, Nick. Remember, you didn't want to do it in the first place, right? So why are you continuing? If you guys want, I could just take away the games. Okay. Oh. That must be your partner. The guy crossing the street right now.
Oh. There's another Trumper.
Probably, I don't know. But it's just so
Trump pansies out there flinging poop.
Flinging poop everywhere they can, just shitting in their hands. And as soon as you start asking them the tough questions, they run away. Right? It's just crazy. And the thing is, I feel bad again. I should have been more. I should have gotten my phone out, and then I should have been more more accommodating.
Accommodating for what? Stupid?
Yeah, I should have let her say her piece. I should have been more like, I should have asked her, why do you support Trump? So she could have said.
Talked about the no policy plan.
Talks about immigration, the borders. There were no wars. No wars, and the transgender sex changes. I should have asked her about it.
The wannabe president's gonna run on the platform. I'm not gonna let inmates have transgender sex changes.
And you think that's such a common thing that it's worth attention. Right. Like there's just billions of dollars being funneled into the inmate sex change program. Do you know how stupid that is? You know how stupid you have to be to fall for that?
It's insulting.
Especially when you know that, like, the thing that they keep referring to, there was probably some sort of case where something happened and it was maybe like medical or something like that. But it's probably just like one case, like that one picture of the drag queen reading the book to the children. how just about every June that shit comes out and everybody, look, drag queens reading a book to children. That's turning them into drag queens. It's so stupid. It's such stupid thinking.
I don't want my boy to see somebody in a dress. That might make him wear a dress, and that would make me die.
Well, if he wants to wear a dress, that makes him gay. And if he's gay and I made him, I might be gay too. All them delicious gay thoughts in my head might actually be real. News for you. If seeing a dude in a dress makes your kid want to wear a dress, your kid was going to wear a dress.
Regardless.
Right. You know, people that don't do that have very, similar reaction to it as to you, the bigot. They go, oh, that's weird. You know. Same thing you do. Oh, that's weird. Just normal people aren't like, oh, we should hate them and beat them up and all that other shit. But, like, if that's something that appeals to you, it's going to appeal to you. You're going to see it at 4, or you're going to see it at 8 or 12 or whatever, and it's going to appeal to you. Do you think that, like, if as long as your kid doesn't see a dude in a dress till he's certain age and certain age here, then he'll be all right? If I can just get him to 14 without seeing a dude in a dress, unless, of course, it's for comedy, because that's always funny. It's always funny to see a guy dressed as a woman. You know, Big Mama. I love when the black people do it. Oh, it's so funny. But, like, it's embarrassing how stupid they've made us. They being the Jews, us being the non-Jews. It's embarrassing. Like, it's embarrassing to think that. So it's Saturday?
Yeah.
Saturday morning. What's going on?
He's putting his feet on the top of it so I can smell his feet.
So move the chair. No, just move the chair. Brothers, man. But I forgot what I was saying. Fuck. That live feed. Because I'm not, editing things and making it look good. Let me fix my hair so my hair looks nice and pretty. This whole thing is just so fucking irritating. Like, I was watching a video on YouTube today, and literally, like, every 2-3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, a vote for. What I've noticed is for the last, like, week, it was all Kamala. And then suddenly, a couple days before we're supposed to go vote, the Trump rhetoric picks back up. And that's literally what happened in 2016. They did the same thing. God bless you today, says some dumbass. Yeah, why doesn't God bless the Palestinians, the Lebanese, all of the victims of Israel that are being fucking bombarded with American rocket fire? How about that? How about this? How about God bless all the children that are currently being held hostage and or raped by the clergy as we speak? Actually do something with all those good God blessings that you guys always love to throw around like that. Touch! Why do you hate God so much? Why do you hate God? I don't hate God. I can tell you that without a doubt. You do not have to worry. I do not hate God. Because I don't hate the tooth fairy. And I don't hate the monsters under my bed. And I don't hate any other non-existing bullshit. Oh, Ulysses Fernandez says, bro. He actually typed B-R-O-O. Bro, get a life. I'm doing the video that you're watching, and I should get the life. Gotcha. Gotcha. Why is it always like that? Can you imagine if you went to a restaurant, right? And you were like, I need to speak to the manager. You hated your meal or whatever. The manager comes over and you're like, you know what? I do not like the decorations that the building down the street puts on their fucking house. Or puts on their windows. And the manager's like, wait, what? What are you talking about? You know, that building a couple miles down the road, they have a bunch of weird decorations in their windows. I don't like those. I want my meal for free. And the manager's like, what are you talking? You ate your meal. You liked it, right? Didn't you eat all the food? Yeah, the food was delicious. I'm not complaining about the food. I'm complaining about that building. A few miles, like 10, 20 miles down the road in the town next door. I'm complaining about the decorations that they have on the windows. And then this joke can keep going as long as you want it to go, but I think you get the point. It's so weird. If you're going to complain about something in my restaurant, then tell me about the restaurant, right? If you're going to come to my feed, then complain about something that I'm doing or saying. Don't just complain because you got a miserable life and you want to bitch about something. You know? The whole voting thing is such a joke. You know what? Let's look that up.
This guy is talking about mixed race relationships.
Cool. Why wouldn't he be able to talk about it?
It just was shocking when I saw him. He's speaking on fetishes and mixed race relationships as a stand-up routine. It's probably hilarious.
Probably, yeah. I would imagine.
He's actually funny. I've seen him before.
All right, we're going into voting here. Voting, according to Wiki, refers to the process of choosing officials or policies by casting a ballot, a document used by people to formally express their preferences. Republics and representative democracies are governments where the population chooses respective representatives by voting. The procedure for identifying the winners based on votes varies depending on both the county and the political office, or the country and the political office. Political scientists, I'm a political scientist. Boy, that would have to be a great gig, wouldn't it? You sit around and talk about the science behind politics all day. I'm a theoretical political scientist. Political scientists call these procedures electoral systems, while mathematicians and economics call them social choice rules. Do you think there's any economists or mathematicians that might call them electoral systems as well? Or is there like a line drawn? Excuse me, sir. You're a mathematician. What are you doing? We do not say electoral systems. We say social choice rules. The study of these rules and what makes them good or bad is the subject of a branch of welfare economics known as social choice theory. There you go. Gotta love that social choice theory. That's fucking hilarious. My wife's the one that really got me like paying attention to that word being used in things. You know?
Which word?
Theory. Or practice. Or, you know, these you say it, you know, the theory of gravity. And you just, the theory, the gravity, the theory of gravity, yeah. It's not the facts of gravity. You know, it's the theory, because it's a fucking stupid thing. Gravity is stupid. Seriously. Gravity is stupid. Like to think about like when they start talking about okay, so Earth has a gravity that pulls everything in towards the center, except for the moon that's outside of the Earth that it makes go around in circles, and it's caught in the sun's gravity that makes that and a bunch of other things go around in circles instead of pulling them in like the gravity works here. Like it's just so stupid. This is hilarious. You literally randomly pop onto my feed once a week every Saturday. But you were here earlier this week, so what does that say? By the way, it's not a theory. It's called the law of physics. No, it's not. The law of physics is not gravity. That's pretty dumb. See, I love when people say shit like that. Like they come in here and they say shit so arrogantly, and it's so obviously wrong. Yeah, gravity is the law of physics. Yeah, it's the law. It's not the law of gravity. It's not. Sorry. In smaller organizations, voting can occur in many different ways. Formally, via ballot to elect others, for example, within a workplace, to elect members of political associations, or to choose rules for others, or informally with a spoken agreement or a gesture like a raised hand. In larger organizations like countries, voting is generally confined to periodic elections. Strange how there's no history of it here. It says, and wow, that's a lot. Wow, that's a lot of shit. I don't think anybody wants to hear me read all this. I had no idea it would be that, but I want to know. In democracy, the government is elected by the people who vote in an election. A way for an electorate to elect is choose from several different candidates. Really? We have several different candidates. It is more than likely that elections will be between two opposing parties. These two will be more established and more popular parties in the country. Like, I see this person as typing, laws in physics have never been proven wrong for over 5,000 years. They have been peer reviewed. The laws of physics have been added to. So you're saying the laws of physics have been the same for 5,000 years and have never changed. When people start saying shit like that, one, anytime somebody starts talking 5,000 years, I think they're probably some dumb Jew. But two, like, that's just stupid. 5,000 years. Really. And none of it ever changes. Do you know that there are places in this, like on Earth, where the laws of physics don't apply? Places called mystery spots, where weird shit seems to defy the laws of physics. And then this arrogant assumption that we know, like if you believe that there are other planets out there and there are other everything out there, to think that everything works the way that the stupid fucking, Earthlings figured out. I mean, it's just stupid. It's stupid. They literally claim that there are places out there where it rains methane diamonds. It rains diamonds made of methane. Methane diamonds. Like, that doesn't fit in with your laws of physics. But the reality is, when it comes to gravity, buoyancy and density actually account for everything that gravity claims to be. And buoyancy and density are things that can be proven. Scientifically proven. Any old person can test it. Like any one of us can test to figure out things like density and buoyancy. Get yourself a rock, get yourself a piece of wood, get yourself a rubber ball and get yourself a little tub of water, and you'll see the difference between what, density and buoyancy, how that all works. I mean, my hair literally can defy gravity, right? Right there. Right there. My hair is defying gravity. I don't care what kind of, that's static electricity. So what people don't realize, God damn it. What people don't realize is gravity is like a germ, right? It would have to be the most intelligent force in sentient, intelligent force in the universe. The way they describe gravity is it sounds like an intelligent being, something that's alive. Gravity knows to put enough pressure on the cajillion, badillion, fulfillion pounds of water that are sticking to the ball spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. It knows to put enough gravity on that shit to keep it where it is and make it slosh back and forth and find the level and all that other stuff that comes with it. And at the same time, gravity knows, oh, hey, that's a little seed from a cotton plant. Gotta let the cotton plant seed float through the breeze. Gotta let that little bug fly around. Gotta let that bird fly around. Gotta let that giant airplane fly around. Gravity knows that I'm about to jump up in the air, and when I jump, it's got to let go for a minute and then pull me back down. And then the gravity also knows that when it comes to the earth,
going up is greater than the force of the pull of the gravity. So that's why you go up. But then as that force lessens as you rise up and your weight is pulling you down,
that has nothing to do with gravity.
The gravity's pull is then stronger than the force of the upward motion. It pulls you back down.
That has nothing to do with gravity.
That's the scientific.
That's like the whole Isaac Newton thing with the cannonball. That the cannonball is what pulls the gravity down. No. When it comes to my jump, the force that my legs exude on the weight of my body pushes it up. When that force runs out, my body, which is heavier than the air around it, falls back down.
No, it's gravity's pull.
It's gravity pulling me down, right? Do you know how stupid that is? Do you not understand how stupid that is? Isaac Newton theorized that if you got high enough on a mountain and you shot a cannonball with enough force, it would get stuck and go around the earth forever. No. How much does a cannonball weigh?
Cannonball coming!
Right. Cannonballs are like heavy as fuck, right? Like 20 pounds and shit. I don't know. How much is a cannonball? Can you look it up on yours real quick? Oh, U.S. engineers use this every day to develop houses, phones, internet systems, light, electrical lines. Yep, they use gravity for that. Yeah, they're using gravity to develop all those things.
8 to 10 pounds. But they're made of iron.
8 to 10 pounds.
The largest cast iron cannonballs were used in 8-pounder cannons and were about 4.1 inches in diameter.
Right. So you have a cannonball that's metal.
Pounds.
Can we all agree that iron
used in 8-pounder cannons, whatever that means. But then
cannons used for shooting 8 pounds,
ones.
I would imagine.
That's the one I read.
Right.
They had smaller ones.
So 8 to 10 pounds. It's a ball. It's made of iron. Iron is heavier than the air, heavier than the water, but more importantly, heavier than the air, right? Can we all agree that iron is heavier than air? Can you agree with me that iron is heavier than the air that we breathe and stuff? I mean, is this even an argument? we can all agree that, right? Iron's heavy. So the ball that's heavy has the gunpowder force behind it. It's put into the specially designed barrel to put the spin on it because the spin actually makes it go farther. If you had the exact same cannonball with the exact same amount of gunpowder put into the exact same size cannon, but the barrel wasn't crafted and made it spin, it wouldn't go as far. The gravity would pull it down sooner. But the force times the weight of the thing, the amount of pounds of pressure created by the force, the explosion, the gunpowder, whatever, in the very carefully shaped apparatus pushes the ball out, the 8 to 10 pound ball out. If you use, let's say you use 5 gunpowder in the cannon, it's not going to go as far as if you use 10 gunpowder. I don't know the fucking measurements for gunpowder. And it's going to go even farther if you use 20 gunpowder, whatever the fuck that means.
It's got to be weighed in weight, like grams.
Sure, yeah. Oh, that's each load of gunpowder is, whatever. They know. They probably have a fucking a cup of certain size that it's exactly right. They pick it up, they scrape some off. They know, oh, we'll put that in, and that gives us. And they probably have it figured. If we put more in there, we're going to be able to strike further than we could if we keep it. If we use the standard amount. But it's because the force is going to run out. It has nothing to do with gravity. It's such a stupid thing, and it's like this dumbass says, is buoyancy is your argument. You do realize these are both proven laws of physics. Yeah. You keep saying the same thing, but you don't seem to be backing it up, do you?
They keep stealing her Harris flags. And so she said, okay, fuck you people. So she's got this whole display in her front yard.
Is more dense and therefore is more dense and is therefore more dense and has more of an effect on gravity. How can people be that stupid? It's not the weight of the thing, it's the effect it has on, again, so gravity is just getting even smarter and smarter, because gravity is calculating the density of something and knows how much force to exude on it, right? What happens when you remove the air? Nobody knows. That's the thing, is there's no, all of those things that talk about what happens out in space and how they have no idea. They're just theoretical physicists. They theorize shit all day. It's got to be a great gig. Am I voting for Trump? I'm not stupid. I don't vote for anybody because I'm not stupid. Stupid people vote. Literally, the title of this video is Don't Vote, because voting is stupid. See, the thing is, it's like people have such a weirdly short memory. Trump literally lost the election by 2.7 million votes. Then the Electoral College, the swamp that Trump swore he was going to drain, decided to put him in office anyway. And Hillary, who actually won the election, just walked off like, all right, see ya. She didn't demand a recount. She didn't want to point. She didn't do anything Trump would have done. Trump loses elections and makes a big fit out of it. Hillary literally won and said nothing, just walked away. Because they're all fucking in it together. It's just a shit show. They thought they were going to be able to trick the people into voting for Trump. If you paid attention, you saw how the media and whatnot acted like they were on Hillary's side, but they just kept throwing out story after story. On this day, on the Friday before Election Tuesday, suddenly this story that's been sort of known under, in all the political circles, but we, the average goyim, don't know. Danny, Danney, Danny Williams, the story of Bill Clinton's illegitimate son, suddenly hits the airwaves. And there's going to be a DNA test that's done, and the results will be, come out next Wednesday or Thursday. They were trying everything they could to make everybody not vote for Hillary. They wanted us to vote for Trump. They were trying to trick us into thinking that they were supporting Hillary, but they weren't. Trump should be really easy to defeat. Especially now. All you should have to do is be like, yeah, what about Epstein? What about your best buddy Epstein and then how you covered up his death? Like that should be, you know, you know he's not going to answer your questions anyway, so you just keep saying that and see how he responds. It's so crazy. And you see with your average Trump supporter how they can't understand, they can't rationalize the idea that you're not a Kamala supporter. That you think they're both dumb. Like I think voting is for monkeys, man. They showed us. They showed us in 2016 that we would have to be fucking stupid to vote.
Oh, they're game alone.
Right. Because, you know, if you saw what happened in 2016 and then you saw how coming up on 2020 they locked us down. They told us we couldn't see our families. We couldn't go to the beach. Like we couldn't do any. We were supposed to sit in our houses and wait to get our vaccinations and die. But the one thing we could do was go vote. And they had commercial after commercial trying to appeal to the 13% of the population that makes up black people. You know, because black guys, cool black guys hanging out in the barber shop talking about, yo, dog, we can't be complaining about politics if we ain't out there voting, dog. Yeah, homie, we need to get out there and vote, son. Because, you know, that's what's happening.
No.
Every other day the news is showing us how random black woman is driving 300 miles to be able to vote because it's so important that we get out there and vote. Every single candidate just does everything they can to kiss the Jewish ass when Jews make up 2 to 4% of the U.S. population. Now, when you break it down and you say, well, the like with black people, yeah, 13% of the population, but who's eligible to vote? You know, I mean, you got to think at least a third, closer to half of that population is children, people under the age to be able to vote. So that immediately takes them out. There's a lot that are going to be felons, going to take them out. And then there's a whole shitload that don't believe voting, you know, matters. It's a big scam. So that takes another shit ton out. So really, who is the black vote trying to appeal to? Jew vote, same thing. They make up 2 to 4% of the population. So 1 to 2% is actually eligible to vote. Why would it matter? Even if you had every single eligible person, you're talking about 1 to 2%. Why would that ever matter? Get a jar, a syringe, and one-way valve. With a ring and and place a marijuana presto, you have a vacuum chamber with no air. Uh-huh. And there's still gravity in there, isn't there? We're not talking about, like, what you're talking about for what exists in space is stupid. And you're talking about a jar, right? A jar, a hard jar. Not a ball with a magic atmosphere. It's the magic atmosphere that keeps everything that keeps everything in balance. Yo, Gray Hawk over here spitting. Thanks. Bigger question is why? Why is it always an option between two scumbags? Because that's the illusion of choice. The Jews control the network. They control all of it. But they give us two choices. They do that with everything. There's only two choices. You can only be man or a woman. You can only be gay or straight. You can only be Republican or Democrat. It's only black or white. You know, it's only God or Big Bang. There's no other options. Like, that's their thing. They give us two choices. They say, I'm going to slap you in the face with the left or the right hand. You choose one. And you thinking you're smart, you go, oh yeah, well, what hand are you? And they go, well, I'm right-handed. And you go, I'll pick the left hand because it's the lesser of two evils. You're probably weaker with your left hand. So I'll pick the left hand. Go ahead, slap me.
I gotta go down to Mark's for a second.
That's all that shit is. It's just an illusion. It's all a Jew illusion. And until we realize, like, it's us versus them, it's not us versus us. It's not the poor blacks versus the poor whites versus the poor Asians versus the poor. It's not that. And this is the thing, like I know there are people that go, oh, I can't believe he just said that. You're not allowed to talk about the Jews. Why? Why am I not allowed to talk about the Jews? Ask yourself that question. Who made that rule? I bet you the people that made that rule are the people that benefit from it the most. There's literally nothing about, like, if everything they do is good and they're proud of themselves and they're proud of their beautiful cult religion, then they should have no problem with us talking about it, whether we're right or wrong. If we're wrong, then that gives them the opportunity to tell us to fix those things, to engage as, oh no, hey, you're getting that thing wrong. Let me explain to you how you're getting it wrong, and hopefully you get it right from now on. You don't just tell people not to talk about something unless they're right. Oh my God, it is pointless. Your brain is not all encompassing. You need to actually test this stuff. I'm getting tired of having my conversations getting bashed based on your logic and not you doing research. Right. The world is not flat, goofball. Yeah. I never said the world was flat. You just don't like, right? Because you didn't think about the fact that you just told me to grab a jar, a hard fucking object. Where's the jar when you're talking about Earth and space and all that shit? You sound like a baby. Man, if there's a baby out there talking like me, get that baby a microphone. That would be something, because people would actually pay attention if it was a baby. And maybe if they were, I always think if people are just paying attention, some of it's going to get through. So if there was a baby out there doing this, that would be amazing. But again, I sound like the baby, not the person that comes in without saying anything, without trying to debunk, without pointing to anything specifically wrong, and just starts name calling. Yep, I'm the big baby. It's the same shit. And it's the same fucking fake, goofy profile bots every day. I've been telling you guys to go check out Team Jorge. If you haven't checked out Team Jorge, you're missing out, man. Team Jorge is one of those, like, severe smoking guns that shows you everything the conspiracy is real. It doesn't matter what shape the world has. You are correct. That's the best part. At this point, we can't know. Until we overthrow the Jews that control our narrative, it really doesn't matter. We could just sit here and argue about it like anybody really knows. That's why I don't claim to know. I don't say it's flat. The only thing I say is it's not a ball flying through space. I believe that. But the rest of it is just, until we overthrow the Jews, it really doesn't matter. You really do sound like a baby. It does, though. You sound like a genuine dude just trying to enlighten us, because reality and stuff. I just don't understand some people, man. I appreciate the compliment, but, again, you have to question all of it. You don't just get to pick and choose. You don't just get to sit here and be like, oh, well, all of the politicians are bad, but not the orange one that hangs out with all of them and is already proven to be a piece of shit politician. And he's not. But all the rest of them are, like that woman that came by today. How are you smart enough to see it's all a big scam, but then fall for Trump? The difference between me and most people is I just apply the same, I'm very consistent. I apply the same questionable skepticism to everything. Even the conspiracy side of things. I'm still questioning that because I don't. like Tartaria. I absolutely believe Tartaria to be real. I mean, it's not even a question. It's on maps and shit. Clearly it's a real thing. And I think the whole reset idea, all that stuff, I think that's all real. But until we overthrow the Jews that control our narrative, we only know what they want us to know. Nah, he don't. He sounds like a Section 8 MK Ultra patient. Yep. So, no, he don't, says the guy. No, he don't. Jesus, how are you that stupid? I just never understand how people can be that stupid, how they don't feel stupid saying it that way. I feel stupid saying it, reading what you say. Like, I don't want people to think I'm saying it because it's so stupid. If everything is a show, how do you get people out of the theater? Unification. Because I think most people already see it. They're just fragile. You know, one of the things that we do, the people like us, is we've been taught to discount, diminish, overlook our own accomplishments. And we think if we see it, everybody else should be able to see it because, we're not any better than anybody else. When the reality is we are, we are. We're further along this line than other people are. And a lot of people, they feel alone. Like the thing with most conspiracy people, especially the atheists, is they love smashing people's religion, but there's no alternative provided. And the thing is that the system has done a really good job of making the solution sound like the problem. So you have so many truthers out there that like, oh, they just want a one world government and blah, blah, blah. Well, there already is a one world government. And a one world government is the right thing. A government that holds everybody to the same standards, gives everyone the same rights. It doesn't matter if you happen to be born in this region or it doesn't matter that you happen to be born to Palestinian parents. You still are allowed to exist and live your life. It doesn't matter if you happen to be born in Wahhabi Saudi Arabia and you're gay. You still get to live your life. Like that's a good thing. China shouldn't be able to dump, if that's even true, because again, everything we know about China is given to us by the Jews who control the news. But if China is dumping chemicals in the sea, that's not okay. Like, everybody should be held to these same standards. A one world government isn't a bad thing. It's the solution. And it's already here. It's retooling the one world government that's the solution. And the same thing with the one world religion, where instead of everybody believing in some sky daddy bullshit, we all believe in man and what we're capable of and what's possible. And we all strive towards the same benefit of man, not some sky daddy bullshit control scheme given to us by the Jews. Let's see. Try looking at the sunset, then take an elevator to the top of a skyscraper. The sun will be higher in the sky because of the curvature of the earth. That is so not true. That is so not true. It's called perspective, and it's all about your ability to see farther. But I'm glad you brought that up. Get out your magic telescope that you think allows you to see a gazillion miles into space. And during that same sunset, go to the top of the building and turn your telescope sideways and look in the opposite direction of the sunset and see if you see any stars and shit. You don't. You don't. But that's like, when people don't understand how perspective works, it's really irritating because it's like they think they're making decent arguments, but like they just don't understand that the human eye has limitations. You can only see so far. And the higher up you get, the further away you're going to be able to see. And that's all that is. You're just seeing further with your telescope up at a higher position. But at the same time, you're so small and insignificant in the scheme of things that it's not going to be that much different. But good try. How many times were you dropped as a baby? A lot. A lot. Not enough times that it made me smart enough. Well, too many times, actually, I guess. Because if I wouldn't have been dropped so many times as a baby, I might be somebody that's smart enough to be a troll on a live feed, right? Based off what I've been hearing, you've seen some harsh things go on, and you believe we are just sheep leading us to slaughter. Yeah, I are you not paying attention? Are you not paying attention to the fact that Israel is starting World War III? It can't be a world war unless it's about Israel, and now it's all about Israel. All we need is the second big part, which is something to do with Asia. Whenever probably this North Korea bullshit kicks off, that'll kick us into full-on World War III. They'll do the Iran thing. Saudi Arabia has to be involved somehow as well, but we just haven't gotten there. Atheism is not a conspiracy. Well, it's the only one that makes sense. I mean, the thing about most religious people is they go, prove God doesn't exist. And it's like, well, how do you prove something doesn't exist? I always say the same thing, but prove there's not a leprechaun sitting in my hand right now, dancing around, doing a little jig. How do you prove that's not there? How do you prove I'm not seeing it? How do you know maybe it's just too small, you can't see it? How do you know that he doesn't have invisible clothes on that people from the back can't see, but I can see it just fine? I have faith that there is a leprechaun dancing there. How do you prove that's not true? The burden of proof falls on the person making the outrageous, extraordinary claim. So you claiming that there's some puppet master God that's, that has every pornographic view you've ever seen on DVD, HD porn with the remote control that can do all the zoom ins and all that shit. Any view you can imagine, as close as you can imagine, as far as you can, any angle you can imagine, God has that same view of children being raped by clergy. And people are like, no, I still believe in that thing. That thing makes sense. Yeah, you don't like that conspiracy, do ya? Atheism is Gnosticism. The problem is when people stop consuming media, they always look for new models. People always need a leader. Exactly. That's why it's always so dangerous. And they have so many. That's like if you start asking the right questions, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is, they're going to immediately start suggesting you watch Alex Jones. Because they know that your whole thing is shattered. And as people, we sort of tend to need other people. We want other people. We're social creatures. And so when you go, holy shit, my reality's shattered, I need to find other people that are in this same spot so I don't feel so alone. And you happen upon an Alex Jones or a dumbass Todd Church or something like that. These guys are saying a couple of things that you might agree with. And because they're saying those couple of things compared to the system that you just 100% disagree with, you go, okay, I'll overlook the fact that they're saying this or they're saying that, and I don't really agree with it. That's the brilliance of the system. That's how the controlled opposition works. Guys like Anomaly, who are allowed to have millions of followers on Facebook. Yet, at the end of the day, he's going to tell you to believe in Jesus. At the end of the day, people, what we really need to do is all sit there and pray and hope the magical superhero comes down and fixes life for us. Logic is not the issue. I've tried. Emotions are. Yeah, that sounds very distressing. I notice while you are trying to keep up with the comments. That shows you care, and we appreciate that. Hey, I appreciate that. Why do stars spin different directions at different poles? Why do stars spin at different directions at different poles? Well, first of all, you have to believe that somebody is taking pictures from the South Pole. Secondly, the system is huge. This is a huge system. How it works, we don't know. But the idea that it's because we're on a ball spinning doesn't make any sense. The fact that the North Star, like the fact is, you have to believe all of the narrative. So all of the narrative suggests that the universe, the solar system that we live in, the galaxy that we live in, all these things are rapidly expanding. And yet, in all of the history of stars and astronomy and all that shit, which again, we don't even bother to question. Like, we don't even think about any of that shit. But the idea that in all of this time, none of these things have changed. No stars have ever gone out. No new stars appear, none of it. And they're all in the exact same spots. Even though everything's expanding, they're all in the exact same spots. If you think that's okay, again, that's on you. And the thing is, really, too, like I say, the more you know, the dumber you sound. You just don't realize it. Do you know? So we just learned how to fly about 100 years ago, supposedly. I mean, clearly there's the whole Airbus and we clearly knew how to fly before that. But according to our narrative, we learned how to fly about 100 years ago. And yet, within, 60 years or so, we're somehow going to the moon. And here we are 100 years later, and we're flying all throughout the galaxy. We have all these things, these impossible contraptions flying throughout the solar system. Never mind the things that they claim, like micrometeorites or anything like that. It's all good. They don't seemingly affect the things that they say are out there. But what you have to understand, okay, so Big Bang is that everything in the universe, stand in your circle, stand in your spot, spin in a circle, see everything you can see, and multiply that times basically infinity. And everything in the universe was condensed down into something smaller than a match head. Now, I always ask, like, is that match head in the warehouse, so to speak? Or did it create the warehouse instead? And if that's the case, then what was in the match head? What created the match head? The remote control car, Stephen Hawking, said that the universe is a forever expand. It's like an accordion. It expands out and then it contracts back in and it expands. It's a forever repeating process. And of course, he knows that because of all the scientific tests he's done with his remote control car body. But what you have to believe, so this is the thing you guys have to believe, is that the match head, because of gravity, was condensing in on itself. Like, again, something that doesn't happen anywhere that we can understand, we just say it. It's a theory. Condensing in on itself until it eventually exploded. Like, so many things do that. When they condense in on themselves, they then explode. And when they explode, they just spew out material consistently and fill in an entire area where it just keeps coming out, keeps coming out, keeps coming out. Now, eventually, all this shit's flying out all these different directions. Magical gravity pockets just sort of appear. Like, there's no rhyme or reason, they just appear. And as those gravity pockets appear, they make the dust and the debris and all the spew from the singularity, the Big Bang. All the material starts spinning around, and eventually it collects into clumps, and then those clumps get bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually they get to the size of stars, which is, again, not something your puny fucking human brain can even begin to fathom. The sun is, 400 times the size of the earth or some shit like that? You can't even fathom that size. I love the idea that we have cameras that are like focused in on the sun and they just sit there. We're on a spinning planet that's spinning and spinning, spinning. Yet somehow there are, I guess, these either it's satellites flying out into space that are just sitting still, or it's a camera on Earth. I never understand the sun cameras. They're always stupid to me. But anyway, all the clumps, they collect, and then eventually the clump lights itself on perpetual fire. In space, there's no oxygen. There's nothing. The gravity, the clumps, they just light themselves on fire. And they burn forever. And now, around those fireballs other in a basically a fried egg shaped pattern. They go in straight out rings around the thing. And again, in a vacuum of space where there is no up and down and shit, apparently in a fucking pattern like that, more little gravity pockets sort of appear, and they pull more debris in, and this forms multiple other clumps. Now, some of these clumps in different rings, again, all along the same path, but in different rings. Some of these clumps, the inside of them lights itself on fire, and then the outside gets water and shit like our planet and life and blah blah blah. Other of these clumps turns into gas giants, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. But each one then goes around the star, the fireball. Now we're told the Earth's moon probably came from a collision, Tiamat, a collision. A big chunk of the Earth was broken off, and then gravity swirled it into a round planet. You know, made our planet whole again, and then made the moon whole, and then caught it in a different kind of gravity that makes things go around. Like this, some of the gravity pulls things together and then lights the inside on fire or lights the outside on fire. Other kinds of gravity pulls the stuff together and then makes it a cold, dead rock that then gets stuck going around another rock that has the inside on fire, and then the outside is water and trees and shit. That's how the Earth got its moon. Now, other things, like Mars has 2 moons and Jupiter has new moons. We're always discovering new moons with Jupiter. Their moons weren't created that way, but our moon was. And this is science. Like, this makes total sense. And then here on Earth, you know, we just happen to live in the Simivius zone, which is this zone that's calculated the distance that planets can exist from a star and have life in them. We know that because we're fucking smart like that. And on our planet, it was rock, it was hot, and it was all kinds of volcanoes. We've seen it all. We've all seen the pictures of pre-Earth. And what happened was, because of something, storms, it started raining, and it just rained for such a long time that it made saltwater oceans and freshwater lakes. And in those bodies of water, single-celled organisms turned into double-celled organisms, maybe with the help of a meteor that crashed with life from another planet. But those things evolved, and evolution just kept happening. And what was one little thing in the bowl of soup turned into multiple different kinds of things. Some of those things turned into crabs. Some of those things turned into fish. Some of those things turned into whales. Those fish grew legs and walked out of the water and learned how to breathe and turned into monkeys. And no, they turned into lizards, big giant lizards. And then at some point, those big giant lizards lived here for millions and millions of years. But then suddenly one day a rock fell out of the sky and wiped everything out except for some other creatures that eventually, you know, all the things in the water, I guess, were okay. I don't know how any birds survived, but apparently the surviving lizards turned into birds and chickens and shit. And then some more fish came out of the water and turned into monkeys and all sorts of other mammals and shit. And then eventually the monkeys turned into people. And the people now know that's all true, based on nothing. Like, that's what you believe. You literally have to believe that. As stupid as that sounds, you have to believe it. And the funny thing is, most of you believe that, and you claim to be Christian or Muslim or whatever. How can you be both? It just shows your ignorance. But you know, they all do it. They all do it. Like, there would have to be a whole shit ton of flat earthers if there were really Christians out there. But the Christians just, they want their cake and they want to eat it too. It's fucking silly. Why does nobody has anything else to say? You're not going to tell me how I'm wrong about how universes and planets and solar systems are created? That's literally how it happens, according to the narrative. I might sound stupid, but that's just because I'm simplifying it. But that's, you have to believe that. You have to believe that nonsense. And then you have the other side, which is the other option that you're allowed to believe, and again, that most people believe at the same time, is that God, I mean, it's like they don't know their Bible. You ask them what's the very first thing God does after he turns on the light, because he doesn't make the sun, he turns on the light. God says, let there be light, and there's light. That's not the sun. God doesn't make the sun and the moon until the fourth day. So I don't even know how you have 4 days, unless, time is a measurement, has nothing to do with the sun and the moon and the spin and all that, which I absolutely subscribe to. Obviously, time is just like measuring. An inch is like a second, There are 60 seconds in a minute. There are 60 minutes in an hour. There are 24 hours in our day cycle. There are 365 days of the year, 364 whatever days of the year. It's just a cycle. It's not. And the reality is we only know that because they tell us that. We wouldn't, we probably wouldn't notice if we weren't told. But God, God, first thing he does is make his firmament, the indestructible dome, where the stars and everything are housed. And it's the thing that keeps the waters of heaven from the earth down below. It's what your Bible says. And then God and Adam sit around and they make all the creatures and they just have a good old time. And God's really, really happy as long as his puppets are naked. As soon as his puppets realize, like, hey, we got bugs all in our assholes and shit because we're naked, and Eve just happens to know how to make clothes out of fucking leaves and shit, suddenly God's pissed off. But see, the thing about the Bible, like, in itself, it's like it dares you to call it out, and you realize the, like, ultimate contradiction of the Bible. It's right in your face, and you maybe have thought about it before, but you've never verbalized the thoughts or really given it much thought. But, like, the ultimate contradiction to the Bible is, who the fuck was there taking notes? Who was sitting there writing down the conversations between the characters? And how did that shit get to the, to print? These are just like simple little things that, to me, it's like the ultimate, like, what the fuck? Who was taking notes when Lot was talking to the two angels, whether it was outside the city or it was in his house? Who was taking the notes when the two daughters were hatching their master plan on how they were going to get their father drunk and rape him so they could get pregnant with boys, and were, of course, successful? Who wrote all that down? How did anybody hear that conversation? And these are things that, like, they just don't, like, you just don't want to talk about it. You've never even given it thought. Strange, man. I mean, think about the woman that came here. Right? The woman that came here knocking on doors to support Trump. and then she's probably going to paint me out to be the bad guy. And, you know, I guess I could have handled it differently, like I said. I don't think I did anything really wrong, but there are things that I could have said differently. But it's like, you're going door to door, pushing a fucking disgusting bigot. Are you only expecting to be met with sunshine and rainbows? Because that's literally like, that's some arrogance that I just can't wrap my head around. That's foolishness. You know, this guy is a fucking idiot. This guy's a piece of shit. If you don't think if you think you can just go around pushing that hatred and not, you know, not answer for it, I guess that's typical Christian arrogance. You know, it's everywhere. It's what we are. It's how we've been trained to be in every facet of our lives. You can't talk to anybody about anything without it being, you know, that typical Christian arrogance that you end up running into. And I don't know, man. It's strange. It's crazy. It's scary. Yeah. People, you know, I know what it's like to, like, I believed forever, very much so, I only, thinking about it, the majority of the reason behind why I believed in space so much was because of how much I hated religion. And I knew that I would always say to people, you believe something that people wrote when they believed the earth was flat. Like, it was always that mentality that, you know, I always knew that the people that wrote the Bible knew the earth was flat. That was always like, that's like a sort of a basic thing. And it tells you so within the first sentence of Genesis. It's letting you know, not the first sentence, but the first thing God does after the face goes over the waters of the deep, blah, 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 that bullshit. After God's looking at the aquarium. But the you know, it's all just crazy. It's all crazy. Clearly I forgot what I was fucking talking about, so I'm trying to cover up for it. But it's okay. I'm allowed to make mistakes. Like Joe Biden. Joe Biden forgot what he was saying. Oh my God. He's crazy. He's too old. He forgot what he was saying a couple of times. Nobody ever forgets what they're saying in the middle of a conversation or while they're doing something. It never happens. It's stupid nonsense. But, you know, it's like the guy here said earlier, like, you know, that woman that was here, I should have had more compassion. You know, especially once it was sort of obvious that she did, you know, when she talked about how she hated Epstein or whatever. It's like, she did see things. She's just one of those people who's so frustrated by the system and wants things to be different so badly that, you know, the illusion that Trump isn't the same part of the system as everybody else, that's what she's falling for. And you know, she's a old white lady. I mean, she's racist. She'll say she's not, but she absolutely is.
Dad, can I have the phone?
No.
Okay. When are you gonna be done?
Soon. I should have handled it better. I should have realized that you know that's someone who I mean in the reality she wants things to be better. She wants she believes that Trump is the change that she wants to see so bad. And she's wrong, but it's it's better for her than voting for the same old thing, which is strange because Kamala is anything but the same old thing. Ew, dead rat. But still, it's the strangest hold Trump has, and literally the only thing I can attribute it to is racism. I honestly can't figure out what else it is. And when you say, oh, there are black people that vote for Trump, and there are Mexicans that vote for Trump. Well, Trump is equally racist to blacks and to Mexicans. So, if you're Mexican, you can focus in on him being racist towards blacks. And if you think there aren't blacks that are prejudiced or Mexicans that are prejudiced against black people, you're foolish. Just like thinking there aren't blacks that are prejudiced against Mexicans. That dynamic is played against the people, and but that's not the majority. The vast majority of Trump supporters are racist whites. It's that disgustingly simple and scary. Like, as a person of color, like, it's scary to know that my country is so racist. That my fellow Americans, my brothers and sisters, are still so fucking racist. It's scary. When you think like shit like Project Bluebeam, when the idea that the government is probably capable of broadcasting things into the sky. And something like Project Bluebeam, where they broadcast religious symbolism into the sky and use the chemtrails, use the HAARP to make the people in each region see what the Messiah is of their region. And then all those things get pulled together to form an image in the sky telling people, you believe in this, you believe, instructing people. People will fall for that shit. And if you don't think that shit's possible, I mean, it's there. Let's look it up. You guys want to look it up? It's definitely more exciting than the voting thing, because that was going to be a long read. I do want to see it, though. Project Bluebeam. So, the first thing is Serge Manasseh, and I don't want to see some guy. I want to see the Project Bluebeam wiki page. There we go. So this is Rational Wiki? No, I don't want Rational Wiki. I just want regular wiki. That's strange. So the only way you can look it up through Wikipedia is through Serge Manasseh. Serge Manasseh, 1995. The 5th or 6th of December, 1996. So we don't know when he was born. We're just going to say it's 1995 or 1945. That makes so much sense. A guy born in 45, and we don't know exactly when. 45 is not fucking ancient. Like, this is, and he died, we're not really sure which day he died, December 5th or 6th, 1996. Gotcha. Was a Quebecois conspiracy theorist. He is mostly known for his promotion of the Project Bluebeam conspiracy theory, which posits a plot to facilitate a totalitarian world government by destroying Abrahamic religions and replacing them with New Age belief system using futuristic NASA technology and involving a faked alien invasion or fake extraterrestrial encounter meant to deceive nations into uniting under a world government. In the early 1990s, he started writing on the theme of the New World Order and conspiracies hatched by secret societies, being particularly inspired by the works of William Guy Carr. I didn't know who William Guy Carr is. See, the thing about all this kind of stuff is, to me, for all I know, this stuff could just be more manufactured reality. Like, I don't know any of this to be true. I don't know what this is, and immediately I'm skeptical when the narrative starts off with, we don't know when the guy was born. You know, in 1994, he published Project Bluebeam, NASA, in which he detailed his claim that NASA, with the help of the United Nations, was attempting to implement a New Age religion with the Antichrist at its head and start a new world order via a technology simulated second coming of Christ. He also gave talks on this topic. Cartoonist Christopher Knowles noted a similarity of Project Bluebeam to plots of Gene Roddenberry's unproduced 1975 Star Trek screenplay, The God Thing, and the 1991 Star Trek Next Generation episode, Devil's Due. In 1995, he published his most detailed work, Les Protocoles de Toronto 6.6.6, 666, modeled upon the protocols of the elders of Zion, which, that's one of those things where you go, okay, so it's all just a conspiracy theory and crazy, but the whole protocols of the elders of Zion thing, that's real? So at what stage does the narrative go from real to fake? Where do we draw that line? Because that shit's pretty fucking crazy. Wherein he said a Masonic group called 6.6.6 had for 20 years been gathering the world's powerful to establish the New World Order and control the minds of individuals. He died of a heart attack in his home in December of 1996 at age 51. Copies of his works still circulate on the internet and have influenced such later conspiracy theorists as American evangelical preacher Tex Mars. Project Bluebeam was also indirectly referenced in an episode of the 5th season of American adult animated sitcom American Dad. That's crazy that that's all we get. This is funny. So I click on the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Now you tell me what makes this coincidental, right? Just listen. I'm going to just read you what it says. I haven't clicked on this in years, so I'm refreshing my own memory. Let's see what it says right off the bat. The Protocols of the Elders of Zion is a fabricated text purporting to detail a Jewish plot for global domination. Largely plagiarized from several earlier sources, it was first published in Imperial Russia in 1903, translated into multiple languages, and disseminated internationally in the early part of the 20th century. It played a key role It played a key part in popularizing belief in an international Jewish conspiracy. That's amazing. Let's see what it says. The text was exposed as fraudulent by the British newspaper The Times in 1921. Well, then that must be it. And by the German newspaper Frankfurter Zeitung in 1924. Beginning in 1933, distillations of the work were assigned by some German teachers as if they were factual to be read by German school children throughout Nazi Germany. It remains widely available in numerous languages in print and on the internet and continues to be presented by anti-Semitic groups as a genuine document. It has been described as probably the most influential work of anti-Semitism ever written. The most influential work of anti-Jewish supremacy ever written. That's what that literally says. Creation. The Protocols is a fabricated document purporting to be factual. Textual evidence shows that it could not have been produced prior to 1901. The document alludes to the but you know, we did find those ultra convenient Dead Sea Scrolls in 46, 47, and 48 just before Israel's creation. And those are all Jewish documents, and those are all fucking real, no doubt. And those add to the Jesus thing. Did you know that the oldest version, you know what? We're going to stop here. We're going to do something else. Pedophiles, go fuck yourself and kill yourself.